Hey guys, Bugcat7 here. Okay, it is Thursday, April 29th, 2021, and I want to thank you for visiting the Stonewall Research channel here on YouTube. I really do appreciate it. All right, gang, well, we got to get back to the original mission statement on my channel, which is the stone walls of the northeastern part of North America. And if you didn't know, that would be the northeastern part of North America, not just the New England area or New York area. So there's more stone walls than what the U.S. Department of Agriculture Geological Survey came up with in 1872 and then later collated in 1930s. And the 240,000 miles of stone walls is more stone walls than all of the rail and the rail systems in the United States, to give you an idea of how much that is. Okay, so this is what it sort of looks like. Okay, let's see if we can get to the stone wall mapper here. Give it a second. We'll catch up, I think. Eats up a lot of resources on my computer there, though, but we'll do it anyway. And this is the New Hampshire Stonewall Mapper, which is a Lidar imaging map that shows the stone walls in New Hampshire. And just get a little bit closer here. Just to get an idea of what's going on here. Okay, so all these little pink areas, and it looks like they've updated it to show these blue areas in here, which I guess are the verified stone walls in the New Hampshire area. And you can see they're very convoluted. They have nothing to do with colonists or settlers. Some of them were built by colonists and settlers. They surely were. Some of the finest examples of the stone walls, by the way. So there are many of these walls in the remote forest areas where no one has lived and up on mountain tops, etc., etc. So this is a vast civilization, folks. This is the hugest mega city on the planet that ever existed, okay, that at least we know about. All right, this is the eighth wonder of the world, the stone walls. The adjacent state of Vermont here, which see if I can get down a little bit on the map here to where Jimmy the Paleo Mountain Man lives. And this is going to be a key video, folks. This is key to my research here, and there's been several people who do research in this field been waiting for me to come up with some answers here because I told them about it a long time ago, and they probably want to see something a bit more than just a few videos on my channel about it. So this is key in understanding the sort of revelatory things that Jimmy and I discovered about the stone walls in 2018 while I was doing some research around the country here up in the remote part of upstate Connecticut in the Green Mountains in the western part of Connecticut there in a place called Sherman, Connecticut, the Mallory Trail in the Mallory area. And then a subscriber of mine, Jimmy the Paleo Mountain Man, had sent me pictures of the stone wall that's on his property. And it's just so unusual that I had to go up there to visit Jimmy. So if you're a new subscriber, you don't know anything about it, Jimmy is my fellow researcher in stone walls. And I went up there because he sent me a picture of a stone wall on his property, and there was something going on in there that was very, very different. Here I am up with Jimmy, and if you want to see our exploits there, you can go to the playlist of my channels. It's a pretty popular video. And this shows a very interesting construction in the stone wall here. Jimmy's talking about it, we're discussing it because it's what I came up to see. None of the stone walls in any areas look like this particular stone wall here. There's something more going on in here. You can see this sort of circular construction in here with these sort of, base stones put in place to carry this part of the wall. It's not level or anything. And there's all sorts of things going on in this wall, what Jimmy and I call an art wall or a story wall. I believe a whole story is going on in this wall, to be honest with you. There's a man coming through the wall with a head and arms and legs. It's an amazing wall, and it doesn't look like any other wall anywhere. And there's something going on in there, and this is what this video is really about. This sort of language or numbering system or both, signs, messages, stories, art going on in these walls up and above what are typically thought of or perceived of the walls. Okay. And I show them in these videos here because Jimmy has several of them on his property here. And again, it's this horned serpent. Not to get into it too much because this is mostly about the language of the stone walls. We'll talk about the horned serpent again later and the effigy walls there on Jimmy's property. But Jimmy had another story wall like this on the lower part of his property. And I don't have those files up right now, but I should open it up here. Let me see if I can get to them here to show you. Oh, not documents. I gotta get to my files here. I thought I had it on the desktop here, but all right. So, in any case, let me try to get up to where I need to be here. Sorry about that, folks. I had this prepared before, but I've been trying to do this video for like hours now, and the program keeps on crashing. I hope it's not crashing now. Nope, still seems to be operating. So I don't need to see documents. What I need to see is my files. And I'm going to take a look at that. Hold on, folks. Not documents, files. Open my files here. So you can get to the pictures. All right. So this is sort of a overhead view, bird's eye view of Jimmy's property up there in the mountains in Springfield, Vermont. And he has these three serpent walls on his property, the top one being his main wall there. Here's where his neighbor's property is. So here the walls extend in there. But here's where the main wall is. The main story wall is on Jimmy's property. The lower wall has a serpent's head. And in front of it, it has another one of these story walls in front of it. Another one of these, what I was calling at the time, it sort of looks like a mosaic. All right. And here in the front wall is another one of these serpent heads, these horned serpent. We'll talk about that later on again, the horned serpent. But down here, there was a cross in the wall, like a Maltese cross made out of two split stones that were like mirror image splits, perfect mirror image splits, and made into a cross in the tail part of this effigy wall, this serpent head effigy. And if you want to know more about it, that is one of the revelations I came to about the stone walls. Is this serpent head is a recurring effigy in the walls themselves, not only here but hundreds of miles away. Several subscribers sent me pictures of them. So, this is one of the things that I ran by people like Tim McSweeney. Okay, he was one of these people who I told about this language or some sort of symbolism or writing going on in these stone walls. And he has this excellent page on Facebook called Celebrating the Ceremonial Stone Landscapes of Turtle Island. So does Matt Adams with Nessie. Okay, these two guys that I told this to, and a couple of years ago, and they're probably wondering why I haven't fully explained this or given any sort of facts or anything to point at. Just told them that there's this language in the walls, that I thought there was some sort of language in the wall, or perhaps some sort of numbering system or something like that. And to me, that made sense because when you look at the walls, we know about the Iroquois. We know that they had a highly organized society. Okay, so much so that many tasks had to be delegated out into these different vast areas. You can see the areas that the Iroquois is 5 tribes. Okay, what we know is that in the mountainous areas, there's very little arable land, but there's lots of arable land along the St. Lawrence and in the western part of New York that the Iroquois were running big farms, 500-acre farms, huge farms, 8 square miles around villages, etc. But you couldn't have this going on in mountainous areas, but this is where all the timber was. They were never without timber. There was never any sort of deforestation going on to the extent where they would be trapped without any sort of wood for fuel or anything like that. Okay. And, they had to have a highly organized effort between all the different tribes to supply the whole civilization and this vast civilization, the biggest one in the world, folks, the biggest mega city that ever was, okay, with goods and material to go around this place. It had to be highly organized with tasks being delegated out, you know, officials, who ran these areas, and it was probably was done by the number. In fact, what I saw on a wall sort of reminded me of the Mayan civilization and their numbering system. This is based on 20. One line represents 5, and each dot represents a single digit. So it's an easy one to follow here how it works. But many of these numbers were incorporated into their writing. Okay, because apparently numbers have a lot to do with things, and time periods, when things occurred, et cetera, et cetera. So you can see in here these sort of vertical and horizontal lines, which were the numbers, along with these pictures. So this art, really hieroglyphs, okay, of the Mayans here with the numbering system incorporated with these vertical lines and horizontal lines into whatever their writing was, what they're trying to say. All right. You have the Micmac people on the East Coast with their writing system. So they're, the native peoples of the Americas had writing systems not only in Central America with the Mayans and whoever else. Okay, you also had it up here in the Northeast. Okay, this is the Micmac writing system, a tribe in northeastern part of North America, Maine, and all the coastal areas of the states there, Massachusetts, etc. You have the Micmac people there, Algonquin peoples that are ancient Indian, peoples native peoples who go back, way back in time. Okay, they have their writing systems there. Okay, so you have to manage this huge area, and I'm sure it was done by the number. Okay, and if they didn't have any particular writing system where it would involve petroglyph on stone, they're building these stone walls. Anything can be built into stone walls. Stories, effigies, etc. Well, certainly words can be built into the stone walls, and that's what I want to talk about in this video. It's been a long time coming. I could have done the video earlier, years ago, actually, but I was hoping to get back up to Vermont to do more research up there to confirm some of these things. Like, there's a bunch of things I want to know personally about all these things. Like, is there a certain distance between each effigy head of the horned serpent in the walls? Maybe there is. So that's something to know. All right. If there is, certainly it would make a lot of sense because they could keep track of, the mileage of these walls themselves, what the actual areas were. Okay. They were into math and everything. So why not? Okay. As a matter of fact, the Mayans had the most advanced math way before European society even had that level of mathematics. So far advanced mathematically because they had the numeral zero, working with zero, which was this tortoise shell or snail shell, whatever it is, to represent zero. They had more advanced mathematics. And here's a serpent head up on Mount Ephraim. Your old friend Budcat showing it to you with the eye in it. Okay, this is part of the revelations of my research into the stone walls. They're all serpents. Okay, and there's much more to it. Why are they only 2 foot high everywhere and everything is because all sorts of things, people and material had to be moved in and out of these places on a daily basis, and you couldn't have them higher than that. You needed to be ability to step right over them. Okay, and all the areas where there are no entryways or exit ways in the walls, it's just a simple symbology to people involved, which is highly organized society moving vast amounts of material for hundreds of thousands of people. Okay, you had to keep track of it by number. You also had to be able to move these things in and out of these areas quickly and in any direction. Okay, that's why the walls are only 2 feet high. Were they living areas? They probably were living areas in some instances, certainly were. Okay, maybe in the more wide open areas and not so much in these smaller areas. These are the areas slated for all these goods and materials that had to come in on a daily basis. Wood had to be used for fuel on a daily basis. People had to eat on a daily basis. So huge amounts of material was moving around up and down the Connecticut River. Okay, at least we know that with the Iroquois, and they're highly organized, that they got from the great peacemaker, one of these quote unquote big men from some time in the ancient past. It seems that they inherited their culture from the big man there. Okay, whoever you believe these people would be who built the stone walls, it wasn't the Native Americans. They didn't claim to build them. They said they were there by the people who were there before them. Okay, their ancestors certainly. Okay, whoever they were, whatever they looked like, and however big they were, it doesn't matter. Okay, many things to think about these things. People being, burial areas dug up with, huge artifacts and they're no normal person, but certainly standardized. Why would they be standardized? So in any case, buried with harpoons in the middle of the state there. Just what are you harpooning there? Deer. Spearing, not harpooning. But in any case, we know of ancient languages. All right, and Jimmy called me up, and had me come up to Vermont. I wanted to come up and visit him here. We looked at these stone walls, and there was something going on here and at Mount Ephraim. And it just so happens that this lower wall on Jimmy's property, okay, which is this rear one by the bird's eye view here, all right, there was another art wall in front of this that looks similar to the one that we found out on Mount Ephraim, which is this one here. Okay. And so I'm talking about it in this very short video. It's only 3 minutes long. I'm only going to play a little bit of it, but this drew my attention immediately. I had already seen an example of it down by Jimmy there with the stone walls, the lower part, and what I call this mosaic wall or art wall or story wall or message wall, whatever it is. And I'm looking at this one here. Jimmy and I are at Mount Ephraim in Vermont, and we're looking at a very, very old stone wall. It sort of snakes around from here. You can see down there, sort of makes a snake down there. And then we came across this very special build in the wall with a lot of different chambers in there and halls. I mean, you can really look inside there and see a lot of stuff. I mean, no other place over here is the wall built with this special build. You see these flat stones in here, one put up here, a purposeful hole in there. You can see the rest of the wall is not built like that. So just another very interesting view. What'd you find there, Jimmy? Look, another, no other place. So anyway, if you want to see my exploits with Jimmy up in Vermont there, looking at these stone walls, this is the first thing that catches my attention is this right here, built into the stone wall. All right. What is this thing that's going on over here? All right. It's not built. No other wall is built like this. Okay. It's another one of these mosaic parts of the wall. And what is going on in here? Okay. And I say it's some sort of word or number or identifier. Okay. You're going to manage this vast area here. It's probably going to be by the number, and you're going to need a quick way to identify these areas. It's so similar to this lower wall at Jimmy's, where it sort of snakes around these large boulder-sized stones up to the effigy head, and then this art wall in front of it was so similar to this one on top of Mount Ephraim. All right. So very similar, with similar kind of builds in the wall with these sort of horizontal, vertical stones as well, with this negative space, these other stones around it. Here's two flat stones that are almost the same size in the bottom, this one here. So it's very complex here, I think, what's going on. But just to sort of give a basic image of it, I drew it out on paper to show what it might be. All right. Let me see if I can get to it. Can I get to it this way? I'm not sure. Let me see here. Yeah, I think so. Back to the beginning. Okay. So it sort of looks like this. All right. So just keep in mind the Mayan writing and the Mayan numbering system. All right. With these horizontal lines, but you can see from this, they also put them vertically in these illustration words. Okay, pictogram words. Okay, so here's what it looks like here, and here's what it looks drawn out. Okay, with the horizontal stones, it's sort of other stones around a negative space in it, and there were other examples of this in these art walls. Okay, here's another example of an art wall here. I think I have it here. Let me see. No, I got it. I don't know why I lost it here. Let's see if I can find it here again. Okay, so this wall right here, we find that's another one of these art and language walls. You can see by the title of it. Amazing stone walls. Look at this. I mean, look at what's going on in there. That could be an effigy. And look at what's adjacent to it, too. It almost looks like another circular kind of build in there. I mean, this looks like one of these art walls. Not just the standard wall, but a wall. And look. So in any case, we came across another one of these walls with groupings of stones for no reason. No other walls are built like this. There's other elements in here that caught my interest. These horizontal stones stacked on each other again. You can see. Look at this. I mean, look at what's going on in here. Yeah, there's all sorts of things. See, you can see these two horizontal stones and another negative space here. So there's something more going on in these stone walls. That's my point to these things. And other examples of this were similar, okay, that I saw elsewhere, again, down on the other art wall or language wall or story wall is down on Jimmy's property there, or something like this. Okay, all these configurations with this negative space, okay, other niches, okay, and let me see if I can find a niche here. because we saw other niches here. Let me see. Okay, so here's a niche built into the stone walls. You can often find these archaic stone walls built with these niches in it. This one has like a 3-foot slab, a 4-foot slab with this niche area in here, which probably was a cache for either tools or weapons or something like that, or anything else for that matter. But a rather large niche, whereas this niche, oh, it is the niche video, but this niche right here is just like fist size with these particular stones grouped around it. All right. And all of them look similar like this. You can find other areas that have these story walls with these very odd configurations. Now, this one here is in the serpent effigy down by Jimmy's, which is really this first video, actually the introductory video on my page. Let's see if I can get to it. Where I show it here. Oh, it's here. This video right here. You can see right behind me here this configuration again with the negative space, but it's a little different than the other one. You can see it right there, this right here. And it looks something like this. Okay? So, you see what it may look like on paper. And is it a word? Is it a number? Is it a combination? Is it some sort of hieroglyph in stone or stone petroglyph built of stone? I don't know, but this is not normal for the walls there to look like this. Nothing else around there is built like this. It's just typical, like the niche. Okay, as you go along and away from this niche, and the stone wall looks basically like this. These are a little bit more complex up there on Mount Ephraim there. There probably is additional stuff in there, but I'm not getting a good Wi-Fi here. And just sort of plain and ordinary, nothing going on. There's niches in here, of course, but there may be more going on here, but not this wall at the bottom here. And I think these walls that were long and snake-like with these large boulders, like the one on Jimmy's property there, still running there. The one on Jimmy's property on the lower part of his property was similar. Here's the cross that I found in the walls, just two stones that were mirror image splits made into a cross that was on the tail end of one of the serpent wall, the front serpent wall at Jimmy's. And I had great photographs of it. It was around here in the wall. And that other story wall was in there, and it had similar constructions like this in it with these horizontal stones, including vertical stones. And we saw them in elsewhere. They weren't just shims or other areas. They were purposely done in these areas. They're just totally unlike any of the other parts of the wall. Okay, so it seems to me that this is trying to say something or rather. And I think it's a number. I think it's a way of keeping track of these areas at a glance. So you're sending representatives from the main council out to view these areas. They need to know in a glance where they are and who they're dealing with, the peoples that they're dealing with. At least if they don't know the people's names, they know the area by number and what's supposed to be going on there. You see? Because this area, this is a giant mega city of no equal anywhere on this planet. And this is around by Jimmy's, not far from Jimmy's area there. And the state of Vermont looks exactly like this, with these stone wall areas in it just everywhere in places where people around those areas know nobody has ever lived, ever. Okay, deep within the forest and deep within the woods and far from anybody or anything exist these stone walls, and every state looks like this. Okay, and Jimmy's property is all part of that. And there's definitely something more going on in these stone walls. It just what's going on at Jimmy's just proves it. Okay, and what we talked about, the videos on my channel, there's something going on more in these stone walls than meets the eye. There's something being said, there's a message being conveyed, a story, other things. Here's the eye on the wall on Jimmy's front property, this alligator eye, which they say about the Native American horned serpent. It could have actually been an animal that lived in the past during the Pleistocene and Holocene. I'm sure it was at this point. It was shared by the Norse people as well. So just think about it, guys. I think that this is saying something here. It's not just simply, you know, for art's sake or a different kind of construction or to prop up other stones. You have these horizontal stones, this negative space. There's no reason for it to do this. This tiny little niche, not usable for anything really. But I think it really represents some sort of word or number that has to do with the specific area and a high level of organization that's associated with the stone wall and the movement of large quantities of material on a daily basis in and out of these areas in the ancient past and during the Iroquois time as well, or the Haudenosaunee, as their real name is. Okay, think about it, guys. That's all I'm asking. It's if I could go back up and do more research, I want to confirm what I'm saying here by taking a closer look at the walls. I only had so much time with them. I'm not a rich guy. I work at a minimum wage job now. So I try to go funny thing, but I think there's a tremendous amount of knowledge to be gained here. And if this something like this could be proven, it would all go for the effort to preserve the stone walls. Whether you believe in what I'm saying or not, you just love the stone walls and want them to stay there forever. They're remnants of the colonists and settlers, which I don't believe. Okay, they built their own stone walls. See, there's the dummy in the dummy's minds. It's got to be either or. Either the settlers, colonists built all of them, or none of them. It's stupid people, just ignorant, just you know, filled up with all kinds of anger and hatred. Just relax, okay? Because settlers and colonists build their own stone walls. You're not taking anything away from them, okay? But some people of the ancient past built all the rest of these archaic stone walls, and you can see me demonstrate this in many of my videos. Doing my own research, guys. It's worth looking at. I have a lot of videos on my channel that people barely look at. All these incredible stone constructions that were done in thousands and thousands of years ago. Okay? Why wouldn't people be interested in that? Well, it's not gorgeous looking. Certainly has interesting elements and represents some area of the past history that we don't know anything about. Okay? The history of humanoids on this planet. Okay, they must have had to been bigger in the past to survive all those giant animals and the insects and stuff. And what are human beings really in Homo sapiens? I don't know, but I think there's a bigger story there. But anyway, guys, this is my revelation. This is my own personal research. This is what I'm saying. Nobody else is saying it. And I'm sure I'm going to get strong opposition from a lot of people just going to say it's a bunch of rocks, or it doesn't mean anything, or maybe it's some art and nothing more, or whatever. But I don't think so. I think these people are on a completely different level, and I think the level of organization that they had reflects a type of system that they needed to devise to keep track of what was going on. No doubt. No doubt in my mind they needed to keep track of what was going on and putting numbers built into the walls. Look, they've only figured out like 75% of the Mayan language, 150 years to study it. Just still working good. 150 years to study it, and they still don't know what 25% of it is. We got, advanced computers today that can examine these things. They still can't figure out what it all says. So, how easy is it going to be to figure out some language that might be in the stone walls? Okay, it's not going to be so easy. I found more of these small niches um, at Mallory up there in Connecticut. And they also had some sort of similar constructions, although they seem to be buried a little bit. But in this small area here, there are all these niches built into the wall, and here I am showing them. Could all of this be saying something? Well, it could very well be. It's difficult to read the stone walls because it's like an unknown language in stone that only the people who devised it and taught it could possibly read, and we're trying to figure it out. Okay? If there's effigies and other things in the walls, and crosses and everything else, well, why can't there be a language in the stone walls? Okay, there certainly could be, and I believe this represents one of them, folks. I really do. There's something more going on there. There's no reason for this. All right. So anyway, guys, think about it. Whether you believe what I say or not, I believe that this is what's going on with the stone walls. There's more than one example of this, and the walls are more complex and more. There's more technology in the walls than you think, too, with the quartz in the walls and the different types of stone, the terra preta. These people were far more advanced than you think. So, anyway, guys, if you like the video, please do hit the like button. It helps support the channel, most certainly. And please do subscribe, because you're not going to hear any of this stuff on any channel anywhere or anywhere else in the world. Okay? Just here. All right? This is my own baby. This is my own research. Okay? We're trying to come up with some answers about the stone walls, and I believe this is one of the things about them that can be discerned with maybe some more research. Okay? I'm never probably going to get to do it, but maybe somebody else will who watches the videos on my channel in some future date after I'm gone. All right, guys. Anyway, Bugcat7 signing out. A peace.